What's going on, everyone? So this video has been requested for a very long time, and I'm pleased to announce I'm finally getting around to it. I'm going to try my best to cover everything I think is important about winning the arena in this video. If I do miss anything out or something's not clear, please post it down in the comment section below. That way I can reply to your questions, assuming you have any. Finally, if you do enjoy this video or it helps in any way whatsoever, feel free to leave a like to show your support, and or consider subscribing to hit that notification bell, assuming you want to be notified every time I upload a new video. Right, so with that out of the way, let's take it to the basics. If you've never heard of the arena is pretty much just the competitive version of Sea of Thieves, hosted by a faction called the Sea Dogs, that takes place within the middle of the map inside of the Glorious Sea Dog Tavern. Upon entering the arena, you will have the ability to choose between either galleons or sloops. With no public knowledge of any brigs being released into the game, you will be able to choose between an open crew or a closed crew on any of these two ships. From there, you'll either get put into a game that's already about to start, or you'll be put into a pre-match waiting lobby where other crews will join in on you. From that point on, it's just a waiting game until the match starts. Once the match starts, it'll go for 15 minutes, where the goal will be within that 15-minute timer to score the most points any way you can. Your endgame reward for the Sea Dogs is pretty much cosmetics as everything else. Instead, this time, you're looking for two different specific types, which is called the Glorious Sea Dog and the Triumphant Sea Dog outfits. Also ship sets as well. And finally, the big endgame goal being a legendary Sea Dog weapon set, which is fairly sought after in the community. Now, over time, this has drastically changed. I made a video about this a while ago, but the arena is very different now as it was back then. Since the arena has had a new revamp in 2020, it's finally about time I get into what you can do to make sure you win almost every single Sea Dog game you play. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, essentially, every action inside the arena has a result to coin. I'm going to put a photo now from the Sea of Thieves wiki up on screen so you can see it, and I'll talk about it very briefly. If you dig up the Glorious Sea Dog chest, you'll find yourself getting 1,500 points. Cashing in that chest will see you getting around 1,000 points. Killing any player will lead you to getting 5 points. Your ship sinking will lead you to lose 1,000 points, although it will never go into the negative, it will always stay at 0. And hitting a cannonball anywhere on someone's ship will lead to 40 points. Now, statistically, from that alone, you may think the only way you can win the arena is by digging and selling chests. And I'm going to tell you now that is definitely not the way to getting the victory. That being said though, it's still possible to win arena games while getting chests. I just don't recommend it because it's not the easiest way. Because there is only one active chest on the map at any time, it's very likely you're going to find people camping the sell post just to try and steal your chest. Because of that, it makes this very risky and almost unlikely that you will be able to efficiently sell these chests without wasting any time. Assuming you get an ultra smooth run, you may be able to sell around 4 to 5 chests in any arena match. That is a best case scenario. With chest wins, I believe the Sloop is significantly easier to get them as compared to the Galleon just due to less people in the game at any time. But I don't know, that doesn't really matter too much because that's not what I want to talk about. Instead, let's talk about the real way to win, in my opinion at least. So essentially, we're going to be using the points for cannon shots to our advantage in this method. Now, this works better for galleons, but you can convert this same strategy over to sloop. It makes no difference whatsoever. So if you previously remember, I spoke about cannonball hits and how they give you 40 points in total every time you hit a shot. Now, since every ship spawns with around 200 cannonballs, assuming you hit every single shot on a ship, with just those points alone, you'll be able to total a top of 8,000 points from only cannon shots. Now, this is significantly higher than anything you can unlock from selling chests, since there's just not enough time to sell that many chests. And again, this is only from hitting cannon shots. That's not from any kills, it's not from digging anything, it's not from sinking any ships, it's just from cannonball hits directly to any ship anywhere. Of course, with a galleon, you do get a little more cannonballs inside your stock, so this can be inflated. But I'm just going to naturally leave it to 8,000 for the sake of this video. Since in most cases you'll never find any games really going over 8,000 points, it is possible, but it's very unlikely every game you play will come to over 8,000 points for any team. Now from that point alone, you may be thinking to yourself, okay, that's cool, but once you start shooting ships, they're going to sink. And then what are you going to do? You're going to be out of ships, you're not going to be able to shoot anyone, then you don't have any more points and people can sell chests. This is where I'm going to tell you how you can do that effectively and not sink ships, while still getting cannon shots. Now you can still unload over 200 cannonballs into a ship without sinking them, you just need to make sure you prioritize shooting the top of the boat. This works significantly better with a galleon. If all of your shots are centered to the top level of the boat, not a single hole is going to go down the bottom. This can be done by either shooting the captain's quarters, or shooting the masts, Either way, shooting any of those two locations are going to lead to no lower deck holes no matter what you do. With the sloop, this varies just a little bit. You'll need to aim for the top of the helm or around that area or just the mast. Even if you do shoot bottom deck holes, it's not too hard to get someone from your crew to go in there and patch that up so you can keep farming. The hard part about this whole method is making sure that ship stays there and doesn't return fire to do the same to you. Now, this is where another strategy that comes into play, and that is called spawn trapping. Now, spawn trapping is essentially just keeping the players dead as soon as they reappear on the boat. I warn you, you're probably going to get a lot of people calling you hackers if you do this, and some people may frown down upon you, but honestly, it's a legitimate strategy. I don't care what anyone says. Now, the act of spawn trapping in itself is pretty simple. All you need to do is have one person if you are on a sloop, or 2 to 3 people if you're on a galleon, shoot over to the ship you're going to trap, get their anchor down and let them go to town, and making sure they don't move out of that trap. This can be done in any way. Essentially, all you need to do is just take down players. Blunderbuss is usually the easiest way, but if you are looking for a bit of a challenge, I'd highly recommend you use an eye of reach and a pistol to get that spawn trap going. Not only is this great for learning new skills, it also improves your aim and makes things just a little bit more interesting when you are spawn trapping. But either way, once you have people on the enemy boat and you've got the anchor down, all you need to do is just keep yourself vigilant and check the spawns. Keeping an eye on when a player respawns will notify when they're back on the boat so you can re-find them and take them down before they have a chance to move. Since this is probably the hardest part of this entire method, I'm going to suggest you get the best players on your crew to do the spawn trapping, and the only thing you're going to need to worry about is having the enemy crew scuttle, which is a lot more unlikely than you'd imagine. Especially since the risk of scuttling leads you going back to 0 points, assuming they have under 1,000, it's unlikely you're going to find a crew in a spawn trap scuttle to try and get away. Now, the key part of this is making sure you get the positioning right. Wherever you pull up, you're going to need to make sure that the cannons have a direct line of sight to the boat. It's impossible to cannon farm if your cannons are aiming in a complete other direction, so one of the key things you should do before you even start cannon farming is making sure you get that positioning right. As you can see in the video, this is pretty much a bare bones basic form of what you need to do. Granted, I was playing with some exceptionally skillful players, but from this alone you can kind of see the strategy. With these cannons, prioritizing the top of the deck is going to allow you to get a ton of points that will be significantly higher and faster than selling a normal chest. Sometimes you may have the odd ship come over to you to try and cause problems. You can essentially just do the exact same thing to them and sink the ship you're currently trapping. If you do have multiple ships rolling up to your position, try and aim to sink the ship that you already have in the trap, then get those PvPers on their boat to go over to the other one that's rolling up, and you can essentially just rinse and repeat this tactic. Since they are 15-minute games, you're going to find 10 minutes of each game is going to be doing this, while the other 5 minutes is something simple like setting up and just getting ready. Now, another thing I didn't mention is the 5 points you're going to get every time you kill a player. First of all, you do get 5 points for downing him and putting him in the res state, and secondly, you get another 5 points when they respawn and end that res state. Now, this topples on with the extra points you get from shooting people, and of course all of that combined adds up to a very, very, very nice total. If you do want to make the strategy just that little bit more effective, although it's definitely not essential whatsoever, is you could throw the arena chest out of play. Again, you don't need to do it, but if you are paranoid about people getting those chests, that's one thing you can do. I've seen a lot of crews do it, but again, it's really not essential. Hopefully this video has made sense. I've sort of just said it how I thought about it in my head, but if I had to summarize it in pretty much one quick sentence, all you need to do is pretty much spawn trap and cannon farm. It's that simple. But if there's anything at all that I've missed or you're confused about, don't hesitate to throw them down in the comments, because I will try and answer them as best as I can. As well as that, don't be surprised if you see a fair few predominant PvPers and players in the comment section that may help you out as well. All of that being said though, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you would like to see more videos like this, I highly suggest you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I do it. And finally, if you would like to get your hands on some Obsidian 6-pack codes, what you can do is head down to my Twitch, because I stream fairly regularly over there and I give them away as well. And also, if you want to hang out and chat off stream and off of YouTube, feel free to join my Discord. We got a cool community in there. With that being said though, thank you all for watching. Hopefully you learned something new, and I'm going to catch you all in my next video. See you later.